Good afternoon today. Welcome and thank you for joining me at the South Dakota Rehabilitation Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired for our quarterly workshop. I am Lori Meagard and I teach the communications area at the Rehab Center. Today, I'm going to go over a few things that I cover in my area. Some of the things that I'm going to go over include reading guides, money identification, talking book services, leisure activities. First of all is our reading guides. The one thing I'm going to show you is called the typoscope. Typoscopes are really nice because you can isolate a line of print. If you start on the left-hand side of the paper, you can line it up going across. This one is a standard 8.5 by 5 cards with about a little over a 1/2 inch opening, and it covers most of the line of print going across. So that's nice because you can isolate your print. Next thing I have is a little bit smaller typoscope. It's a 3.5 by 5 size. And it's really good if you want to isolate like word search puzzles. So that way you can isolate just a very small area while you're looking for something particular. Another thing you can use are the Bright Line reading guides. They come in yellow and pink. The nice thing about them is they have a highlighted area and a dark black line underneath, so you can either change it either direction. So if you want to highlight either above the black line or below the black line. Glare control is another thing that we want to deal with. The nice thing about the yellow sheets is they cut down the glare, but they also make the bold print pop. So they're quite handy. This is a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet. They can also be cut down in case you want a smaller size. This one is yellow. They also come in pink. The nice thing about these is they reduce glare and they block other types of visual clutter. Next up is writing guides. The first one I'm going to show you is the full page writing guide. This one, if you start on the left-hand side of the page, you're going to go down 13 lines. It gives you approximately a 1/2 inch wide line to write in. It is very solid and heavy black. You will be able to keep track of where you're at on the line as you're going across, as long as you follow with one finger as you're writing. This one is also hinged so that you can keep track of your paper quite nicely. Another thing you can do with writing guides is clip them onto a clipboard, because that way it won't move on you. We also have the check writing guide. The check writing guide starts over on the right-hand side with a small part for your date. Then directly below that is the money in numbers. To the left of that line is who you're writing this check to. And then below that is the dollar amount in written terms. Then below that is your memo. And of course, on the far right side is going to be your signature. Next up is the envelope addressing guide. This one is a standard business size envelope. They do come in smaller sizes also. Start over on the left-hand side. You will notice there's 4 lines going down. Each one is approximately maybe that 1/2 inch wide, I would say, and it gives you room for your addresses. On the very bottom line, that is the shortest one, that is the zip code. Going towards the middle, all the way over to the right-hand side, is another set of 4 spaces going down, and you will be able to address it to who you want it to go to, including street, city, state, and of course on the very bottom, zip code. Another nice guide is the stationary guide. This one's a little bit smaller. I would say it's probably a standard 5 by 7. And it's got the same way, start on the left-hand side, go across the page. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's 13 lines on this one also. Next up are our nice little signature guides. The nice thing about the signature guides is when somebody hands you a piece of paper and says, here, sign this on the line, and you're going, where's the line? Ask them to put this where you need to sign. The top one has a nice long writing space, and they're a little over ½ inch wide. The bottom one is a metal one, and it's got elastic string in the center. That is really nice for letters that dip below the line. Your G, your J, your Y, your Q's. And last writing guide is the greeting card guide. It can go either horizontal, or you can change it and go vertical if you need to. So if you're going to do horizontal signing, you will insert it. You can put your greeting in here, and then the shortest line, of course, is for your signature. Fold line paper. They come in a variety of colors. Today, I'm going to show you yellow, white. As you can tell, the white paper has a lot of glare to it. Green, and pink. The nice thing about the bold line paper, it has got bold lines, of course, dark. It's fairly spaced apart. I would say they're about, some of these are 3/4 inches wide for you have a large space to write. Really nice if you're writing with a really bold marker. As you can see, there's examples. You might be able to tell there are some examples on here. I like to use a variety of pens. Some of my pens are the Archie retractable. This one is really nice. It gives a nice smooth writing. It is retractable. It looks like a regular ink pen. Next up is the Pilot Bravo. It will give you a little bit thicker line. The RT is about a 1 point thickness pen, and same way with the Pilot Bravo, except the Pilot Bravo is a little more like a marker. And then we have one that is similar to the 2020 pen. I also like to think of them as kind of like a Sharpie, except they will not bleed through and they don't stink like a Sharpie. Then we have the bold writing pen. The nice thing, this one's more like a thicker pen, so it will give you a bolder, stronger line. The idea for your pens is you want to make sure that your writing is legible. It increases your independence, and it will reduce visual fatigue. Calendars. I have a couple different calendars here to show you. This one is the wall calendar. I'm going to try and get it in your view. This one has nice bold letters. I would say they are probably at least 1 inch tall letters. Very dark black. Each month is highlighted on 2 full sheets of paper. They are like 11.5 by 11.5 by 14 paper. And if you're writing with the 2020 pen, as you can see, I wrote Easter on here. And when I flip it over, there is absolutely no bleed through, which is very nice. Next is an example of a Braille calendar. This one has all the numbers in Braille and going across. The dates, the holidays are marked with an X, so you know that there's a holiday. The phases of the moon are also indicated in raised form. So this is a Braille calendar, and they're set up just like a normal calendar. The nice thing about the Braille calendar is they also have pictures that are done by visually impaired people, and they actually are describing them so you can tell what you're looking at because it's in Braille. Watches. There's a variety of watches on the market. You can get ones that are low vision. You can get some that are talking, and you can get some that are Braille. On the right-hand side, I have two examples of low vision watches. One is a white face, and that is on the far right side. It is white face with black numbers. Directly to the left of that is a black face one with white numbers. Now, the one on the right-hand side has a Velcro band and it's elastic. The one on the just to the left of that has an expansion band. Directly to the left of that last watch is the talking watch, and this is a simple one-button talking watch. That's kind of a quiet watch. There's not a whole lot to it. All the settings for the sides are on the bottom, kind of in the 7 o'clock and 5 o'clock positions, and you have to get something very sharp in order to set them. The next one over to the far left is going to be the Braille watch. It flips up to the top and it has 3 dots at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 2 dots at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, 1 dots at the other numbers. The secret to a Braille watch is to have a light touch because they are delicate. And again, there's a lot of different clocks and watches on the market. A couple of our large print clocks I'm going to show you. This one is the Jumbo Cube clock. It is a basic square clock with a large speaker on the front and a big round yellow button on the top. Simply press the button.
It's 1:15 p.m.
and you will get a nice solid voice. And the back of the clock is where the batteries are, and that's where you also have to open it in order to change the time and the mode settings, and also has your volume control. This is set on the largest volume, but you can go much quieter if you wish. Our next clock is a low vision talking clock. It is white and red with a black face and white numbers. It has a bar on the top that is red and it's long oblong bar. That is your talking part.
It is 1:17 p.m.
And that is set on the quiet voice. I'm going to raise it to the loud voice for
Loud
you.
volume. Today is Friday, March 28th, 2025. Normal volume.
On the back of the clock is all your settings. So you have all the settings on the back of the clock. And they're the standard settings where you can get the date, you can dim it, you can do 12 or 24-hour clock, and yes, it has an alarm. Next up is what I like to call my Moshi clock. Sometimes Moshi is really nice, and sometimes Moshi does not cooperate very well. Now, Moshi can be an interactive clock, but sometimes when I have it set on interactive, Moshi will start talking to me when I'm trying to teach a class. So I don't have it set on the hands-free mode. To activate Moshi, I push the face of the clock back.
Welcome. Command, please.
Time.
Tell me the current time.
11:17 p.m.
Set the time. Just say the current time. For example, 5:07 p.m. Tell me the current time.
11:17 p.m.
The time is now set to 11:17 p.m.
That's what I mean about Moshi not being very cooperative at times. Moshi can do the time, set time, alarm, alarm sound, turn off the alarm, sleep sound, play sleep sound, today's date, temperature, and night light. I will try Moshi again.
Command, please.
Today's date.
Today is Friday, March 28th, 2025.
Next up, I have an example of the Ryzen atomic clock. It's a pyramid-shaped clock with a large button on the top, and you're going to press this button.
The time is now 18 minutes past 1 p.m. The time is now 18 minutes past 1 p.m. Today's Friday, March 28th.
So it's atomic clock and it's kind of quiet. When I tried to raise it to the large volume, it does not go up. It does some weird stuff, so I won't try and do that today. Calculators. I have two examples of calculators to show you today. There are many out there on the market. You can get scientific, you can get ones that are more commercial grade. You can get some really big one. This one is the desk size calculator. It is the size of a standard 11.5 by 8 page of paper. It has a display that you can tilt if you have some vision. It is set up just like a normal calculator. On the right-hand side are all your function buttons with the plus starting down at the bottom, then minus, multiplication, division, and then you have a memory clear button, and then you can have it speak in unit or numbers. And it does some volume control. I also have where it will do, you can change the volume. And I think that's as loud as it gets. So it's not a very quiet, it's not a very noisy calculator. The next calculator is a smaller one. It's also black with white blocks and black numbers.
Power on.
It is, all the function buttons are on the right side and the memory recall buttons and the percent sign are on the left-hand side. The numbers start at the bottom with 0, 00, and the decimal point. You can also change the volume on this one.
Volume high. 7.
And that's as loud as it gets. Now we're going to go into money identification. That's always an important thing to do because if you can identify your money, that gives you greater independence. It keeps you organized and you are in full control of your money. So how do we identify coins? A penny is small and it has smooth edges, as you could. So take your finger and rub along the coin to find out if it's got a smooth edge or a rough edge. A nickel is bigger than a penny and it also has a smooth edge. A dime has rough edges. So as you take a fingernail or you can feel all the ridges as you're going across. And it's also very small and they sound different when you drop them. So that one's light. A quarter also has rough edges and it's bigger, but when you drop it, you can definitely hear it is a lot louder. Now the dollar, which this one's the gold dollar, it kind of has smooth edges and it's a little bit bigger than the quarter. Miraculously enough, the coin that has that's the biggest is the 50-cent piece. It also has rough edges, so it's got the ridges on it, and it will be heavy when you drop it. An interesting tidbit about why they put ridges in the coins originally, it was to prevent counterfeiting from criminals back in the day when coins used to be made out of pure silver. Next up is folding money, because the worst thing we want to do is pull out our money and say, what is this? And hand it to somebody else to figure out. Probably not a good thing because in today's day and age, we cannot trust everybody. So what I have taught is $1 bills we leave flat. And don't mind me that my money is not real. It's will do for today. $5 bill, fold in half on the short ends. So it looks kind of like a book or a hamburger. $10 bills fold in half the long way like a ruler or a hot dog. A $20 bill fold in half like a ruler or a hot dog, fold in half again on the short end, kind of makes it into one of those small breakfast sausages. $50 bill fold in half twice like a book. I kind of like to think of this one the size of a Twinkie. The $100 bills, you can either fold in thirds, put it in a safe spot in your wallet, fold down one corner really large, or put the paper clip on them just so that you know that's a $100 bill. The worst thing you want to do is pay with a one and accidentally give somebody a $100 bill. There's also methods of organizing your money in wallets. This one is the ladies' leather wallet. It has a Velcro opening for closure. On the flap, it has, on the one side, it has 3 pockets for coins, and then it has dividers for your dollar bills. On the opposite side is your identification, spot for your identification, and credit cards, insurance cards, medical cards, things like that. There's also a men's wallet that is similar. Again, it has the spots for your identification on both sides after you open it up, because it's a bifold, so it just opens up in half. And it's got slots for your cards again. And then behind that is the divider sections for your dollar bills. Again, those are leather. There's also a really nice program from the US Currency Reader program. It's called the iBill. The iBill is a talking banknote identifier. It is a handheld device that will announce the denominations in audio. It's a kind of a very quiet device, which is really good because you don't want everybody to hear what your money is. So you slide it in on the short end and press the top button. And as you could probably barely hear that, but it's very quiet. It is approximately the size of a small fun-sized candy bar, I would say. And it has 2 buttons, one on the top and one on the bottom. On the bottom part, there is a slot where you slide your bill in. You want to slide the short end of the bill in under that slot and then push only one button. Because if you push 2 buttons, you push both those buttons at the same time, it's going to change your modes. And then you will kind of get messed up. And it's a free program. If you are interested in it, contact either me. You could also contact the state library through the Accessible Library program. You can also contact anybody in services with the blind and visually impaired. The last part I have to show you with money identification is something that's really important that we still need to keep track of, and that is how much money do we have in our account? This one is a check register. It's the size of a regular sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11. This one is white and it has dark lines on it with checks and deposits on the top. Of course, you could use that just simply as transactions and not necessarily checks and deposits. On the far left side is going to be your number, your date. Then the next section over, who's the transaction to? The amount of the transaction, maybe you're getting a deposit in, and then finally your balance, because it's still important to know how much money you have in your account. Organization. Organization should be easy to access, increases your independence, and it should be adaptable to meet your needs. There's different methods for you to organize. You can use large print, you could do Braille, you could do some very simple methods too. You don't necessarily have to do anything expensive. You can do something as simple as rubber bands. This one is a large rubber band, and then we have a small rubber band. The worst thing, if you think about it, if you're in the shower, you probably want to make sure you're getting your shampoo over your conditioner or your body wash, simply because you don't want to mix them all up. So rubber bands are very easy. Another very simple method of adding organization and tactile methods is Velcro. You can get them in strips, squares, or circles. These are, you can get black, white. I have examples of black and white ones here. The nice thing about them is you can cut them down and make them smaller. Another thing you can get are like the fabric, they used to have fabric dimensional paint, and they used to make nice lines, and they would kind of crack and fall apart. There is something called spot and line pen now. You can get white, black, or fluorescent orange. The nice thing about this is it makes a nice firm line. You can use it on any appliance. We've used them on air fryers, electric skillets, stoves, washers, dryers. The only thing to remember is make sure your surface is clean before you apply it, and let it dry for 24 hours before you touch it, because it will smear. Bump dots. They come in a wide variety. They end in different sizes, shapes, and colors. The nice thing about bump dots is they're self-adhesive. You can put them on virtually many, many different things, from computers to thermostats to appliances, keys, any number of things. They come in clear, white, black. They're also, we have some bright orange, fluorescent orange, red, yellow, purple, green. Some of them are soft, some of them are really big. So it just really depends on what you like. And if you're interested in more, I can tell you more. We also have something called locator dots. These are really nice for the keyboards because they're very small and they're very tiny. They come in clear, yellow, orange, blue, and green. They also have things in Braille that you can add. There is number stickers and alphabet stickers. There's also point symbol stickers. So there's so many things out there that you can use for labeling. You can use masking tape. You could use detail tape. This is graphic detailing tape, and makes great lines for adapting games if you want to outline a game, or if you're wanting to mark a guide for like a sewing machine to put your seam with. Last, I'm going to have to show you for labeling is the Braille labeler. Now, the Braille labeler is a handheld device. It has a circular dial and a handle that you have to squeeze in order to make the Braille. It has Braille letters going all the way across, a few of the Braille contractions, and a rectangle, and that is your cutting part. It also has some basic punctuation and the number indicator. So in order to start a label, you line it up with the indentation on the top part of the handle, and then you squeeze. After you find your letter, like if it's C, you squeeze the handle, then turn it to your next letter. And you just keep going until you make your Braille label. Then turn it to the cutting part, squeeze really hard, and if you're lucky, it will cut. And I succeeded. Braille. The Braille cell, I'm going to do it very briefly on Braille because it's near and dear to my heart. I like to describe Braille a little bit. Braille is set up as a cell. It starts on the left-hand side with dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This cell is a nice contrasting one with black dots on a yellow background. It also swings open. The nice thing about that was when I'm teaching how to use a Braille writer, it helps my students learn. There's a number of different things you can use for writing Braille. One of the most basic ones is the slate and stylus. So this is the stylus. It is a saddle-shaped slate stylus. So you wrap your thumb, your index finger, and your right and the next finger over your middle finger around it, and that's how you write with it. The thing to remember, fits a 5.5 by 11 by 8 card or sheet of paper. Start on the right-hand side when you're writing with a slate, because when you turn it over and open it up, you're going to read it from left to right, but writing it, you're writing from right to left. So you have to flip your cell around. So instead, think about it as on the right-hand side, it's 1, 2, 3, and then switch over to the left-hand side and be 4, 5, 6 as you're writing. So this is a standard slate. We also have ones that fit the 3 by 5 index cards, and this one is an inner point slate because it's two-sided. It has lines on both sides for writing Braille. The next one is a small slate that you can write a quick note on a business card. The nice thing also about this one, it has an opening for a small signature guide. This one's probably about size of a business card or a little bit bigger, I would say. Our next one is a playing card read slate. It has 2 rows on top and the bottom, and the card slides in on the side. And then you have 7 cells that you can write whatever information you want on your playing card. Next, I have a line slate. It is good for making 1 line of an adhesive label, or if you want to make just 1 quick little note. The trick with the adhesive labels, like Dymo tape, is you're going to put the sticky side facing up so that you can write from right to left. So when you turn it over, you're reading the right way. Otherwise, you could read really funky Braille. Now, as you know, there's also a little device I call a Braille eraser, because sometimes we make mistakes when we Braille. And it's long, thin, kind of like a pencil with a nice sharp point. And this one is plastic, and it's my favorite one. Next, I'm going to show you some Braille paper. There's different types of Braille paper out there. Standard 11.5 by 8 manila paper. You can get 3-hole punch, plain. You can also get the 11 by 11.5 size sheets. They roll very nicely into the Braille writer. This smaller size works great with the slate and stylus. With Braille, you can make reading quite easy. It also makes a way for some quick labeling. And you can do your recipes on this lovely plastic Braille paper, because the nice thing about this is 11.5 by 11 paper, and it also is washable. So if you spill on it, just rinse it off and let it dry, and you're ready to go again. And it does not push the dots out nearly as much as some of the other paper can do. Now for labeling, we have full-size adhesive labels. This one is a full page, 8.5 by 11. We have 18 labels on this page. This one says 8.5 by 11, but it's got 9 labels on each side, total of 18. The secret with this one is I cut the page in half, and I make sure I don't take off the surrounding edges before I roll it in the Braille writer, because if you do, it will get stuck in the Braille writer, and then you got a mess to clean up. The last one is a larger set of labels. This one's 10 labels on here. Again, I would cut it in half. They will hold 3 lines of Braille. Really nice for if you want to label movies. Something where you want a little bit more detail on. Even you could do game cards if you want just limited labeling. You can also use a Braille writer and a Dymo tape holder. This is a long metal, small holder, but it's got the line, it's got clips on both ends, and you can put a line of Dymo tape in the middle, and this one is metal, so there's only one way you can slide it in. The key to this is you have to make sure your embossing head of your Braille writer is slid over in the middle because you can't, otherwise you won't be able to get it in over the clips. So you slide it in, lock it into place, and then you're ready to write. And that is with the Braille labeler. It's quite nice. Then you can take it out, take your label out, cut it, peel it off, and ready to use. The last method of writing Braille is the low-tech Braille writer. This one kind of looks like an old-fashioned typewriter in a way. They are heavy, so they're not something that's really fun to lug around the building. They take both sides of paper. It has a 6-key entry system with the 1, 2, 3 on the left side, 4, 5, 6 on the right, a space bar in the middle. On the far left side is your page advance. On the far right side is your backspace. Above those keys are your carriage return, and that's what's moving your embossing head back and forth. There's methods for locking down and rolling in. The key is after you roll in your paper, make sure you advance it one time. Otherwise, you can Braille over top of what you just wrote. Accessible book services. They are available through the state library. They have 2 players. You can get the basic player, and this one will, every button will talk to you.
Player volume up. To increase the volume by 1 step, press the volume up.
As you can tell, each button will talk. It has a round red play button. Next, slightly over to the right of that is the stop button, or the sleep button, and the play stop button. We have the volume keys. They are arrow keys going up and down. Below the sleep button are your play buttons, your play stop, and your rewind and fast forward button. Above that, there's a line that divides it, has a speaker and your tone buttons and your speed buttons. Every button will talk to you. It's another nice service available through the Accessible Library Services. It's a free program. The cartridges, you have to open them up. You can get any number of books on the cartridges, insert it into the player.
5. Books.
Press and hold the play stop button.
Bookshelf. 5. Books. Book. 3.
The wish.
4.
Holding the fort.
If you find a book you want to,
Book.
if you find a book you want to listen to, simply press the play stop button and it will take you right into your book. The key to remember is when you go to send a book back is to take the mailing part of the cartridge box out, and normally you see the white side. You want to turn it inside out where you see the bright yellow side. Slide it back into the cartridge box. Make sure your cartridge is in there. Send it back to the state library so they can send you a new cartridge.
Power. Battery chart player off.
There's a lot of leisure activities. I'm going to show you a few examples of some low vision cards. We have the bridge playing cards. They are white background with black and red numbers. They're very large. They're over, I think they're 1.5 inch letters and numbers on there. Above them, I have the Easy C playing cards. They are red and black backgrounds with white numbers. Again, they have large print numbers on them. And then below that, we have the Can Do playing cards. They are just a little bit more smaller numbers. I'd say they're about 3/4 of an inch high. And they're just basic playing cards. You can also get playing cards that are brailled. This is the Uno deck. And this one's, we brailled ourselves, but you can buy them already brailled. Something we like to use is the rotating card sort holder, because you can have your draw pile and your discard pile. This one is clear. It has two sides to it and on a rotating base. I did add detailing tape in black around the outer edges, and on one side I added orange bump dots simply so we could distinguish the two sides. You can get puzzle books in large print. This one's Sudoku, and it has nice large print on it. If you like math games, this is the one for you. They're quite thick. You can also get crossword puzzle books. You can get word search puzzle books. They are size of a standard 8.5 by 11, and both of these books are spiral bound. Some people like to play games. This one is a simple game called Shut the Box. You can buy them already with Braille and large print on them. This one we made and put our own Braille and large print on it. So just simply, it has 9 tiles, and starting on the left-hand side is your numbers 1 through 9 in both large print and Braille. And then we put a contrasting bottom on to make it easier to see. You can use tactile dice with raised black dots on it. You can use, this is black dice with yellow dots. I have regular white dice with black dots on it, and yellow dice with black dots. You can get large print Yahtzee sheets, or if you want to, you can enlarge your own sheets and make it a little bit larger. Put it on the color of paper that you like so you can easily play Yahtzee. We also had one student last year who put his Yahtzee card on his Braille note. Couple other quick games to show you are checkers. These are round black and square red with the little line in between them. So it's round and square. And then the checkerboard is indented. And so you have indentations and raised spots for your checkers to sit in. And this one's a plastic checkerboard. And it's yellow, and somebody colored in the dots, the spots. This is the Tactile dominoes game. All the dominoes are raised so you can feel the dots. So this is the domino 6 set, the double sixes. They're plastic and very nicely raised. You can get bingo cards with sliders on them. This one's a little bit smaller one. The slides goes from side to side. This is a larger bingo card. This one goes from top to bottom. And they just have a nice slide so you can slide them up and down instead of putting chips on them. This is a Braille bingo card, and it has indentations for to put the chips in, but each one section is Braille. And it also has a nice dark blue background with white background in the squares and raised black numbers and Braille numbers. Thank you for joining us today. We will be sending out information in the chat on some of the stuff I talked about. If you have any questions, please call or email me. My information is in the chat. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat now.
Got a few questions so far. The first one is, do you have many people that like pink bold lined paper?
Off and on, yes, I do. It's surprisingly.
How can I learn more about the reading guides?
you could schedule, you could either email me and let me know exactly what you would like to know. If you are in close to Sioux Falls or are coming to Sioux Falls, contact me. You can probably schedule a time to meet with me.
Lynette put a link to the accessible library service in the chat as well for the talking book program. So
Thank
you can
you.
check that out. And I think so far that's everything. There is a PDF in the chat as well with a few of the most recommended items that Lori talked about today. We have a whole vast list of resources if you have specific needs or questions on any items. Yeah, feel free to reach out and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day.